And good afternoon. It is Wednesday, October 25th, just past 1:30 p.m. Mr. Frank Prozis joins me. Frank, how are you?
I don't know. I'm going to get another hat because you didn't like this one. Go to this one.
All right. All right. Well, Frank, you did, when you had emailed our guests of honor today, had said costumes were optional.
That's right. So you may think this is a costume. This is actually a minor league baseball hat.
Okay. And I assume you meant Halloween costumes were optional.
Any costumes.
Okay.
Well, I'm as one major league pitcher said when referring to himself as a righty and a lefty, he said he was amphibious.
There you go. Newport School Superintendent Colleen Jermain joins us, not in a Halloween costume.
No.
Is there a big Halloween celebration at Newport Public Schools?
Yes. Pell usually has a walk. They call it a Halloween walk, a spirit walk. We just had Trunk or Treat, which was a great community event that just took place. And that was a lot of fun. And costumes were worn on that one.
Okay.
So you might see some pictures this week about some people you may recognize, but costumes were worn at that one. It was fun. It was a great community event. We had the fire department there. We had all our community partners there, Boys and Girls Club. We had the Prevention Coalition. Our teachers from Pell were dressed up as different characters. We had Fab Newport. It was a great event. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And the Newport School Committee was there, the health and wellness. They had one of our vans there with healthy treats for our students, and they were dressed up as well. So it was good.
Excellent. Frank, I just, started.
What are you going to do for Halloween?
I'm sorry? Is that for me?
What are you going to dress up for Halloween?
Oh, that's a secret. No one knows. I don't tell people because then some people actually never recognize me.
Ooh, okay. All right. Excellent. Well, speaking of things that are scary, what's been scary over the last month since the last time we talked to you?
Oh, so let's see. There's a lot of things going on. First and foremost, of course, our school building project is wonderful. It's not scary. It's a great testament to our community and our community support, but we do have a budget gap, and we have been very busy and diligent working on a plan with our partners on how to address that budget gap. So I want to thank the school building committee, our co-chairs, Louisa Boatwright and Becky Boland. And recently, in the past month, Gilbane, Slam, and Downs came up with a good phased-in program to keep the project moving, even though we do have a budget gap, and address how we can fill that gap. The school building committee decided to take $2 million out of its contingency, which we've gotten quite a bit of the risk off the table. So now our contingency is at $2 million. We still have FF&E at about $4 million. So we have the soft costs still in place, but we took the $2 million over. That helped to increase our GMP, which then allowed us to make solidify a lot of bids that came in that we can award, and again, get additional risk off the table. Tonight, we're keeping our fingers crossed and hopeful that our city council will work with us and help with that gap as well. So it's a community project, and we know, and that's why the school committee voted to take $2 million also out of their education fund and put it towards the gap. So right now, we're hoping that the city council will work with us and help us and, give some efforts towards filling that gap so we can get as much risk off the table as possible. And the only thing we have left after that is all said and done, then to look for funding to be able to do our site work in order to have the building up and ready for 2025.
To put it in layman's terms.
So, Colleen, let me make
sure.
Oh,
wow. Sorry. So
I was going to ask if you could, what are you asking Newport City Council for?
We're just asking them where they have a resolution, I believe. I know they do, on tonight's agenda, and I believe it's about $6.3 million. That's half of what our budget gap is. And I know from reading of the resolution, the school department and school committee will be responsible for the rest. And we will work diligently towards it. As I said, we've already put $2 million towards it, and we'll get into more grant writing and fundraising to fill that gap.
So let me try and understand all of this. So the gap now is about 12.6 million.
Yes.
The out of the contingency fund was 2 million.
Yes, we had a $14 million gap, and then we reduced it to 12.6.
Okay, and then another 2 million out of the school committee surplus.
Yes, that was voted on last week.
So then that reduces it to about 10.6.
Approximately, yes.
And then if the council tonight approves the 6.3, then it becomes $4.3
Yes.
million gap still to be made up.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Just want to understand
yes.
the numbers. There were a lot of numbers being thrown around. So if all goes well, and that 4.3 million, what does that do to automotive and cosmetology, or are they still not included in any of that?
They're still not included in the project.
So this is just what is, so that would be, how much more would you need for automotive and cosmetology?
Well, as I shared before, we did receive estimates a while back, and as you know, costs have only gone up. So
Sure.
I would say at least another 9 million to possibly 12 if you're including central
Another
office.
9 to 12 to
I'm
include
not
the other.
holding.
Okay.
I want to be
I
really
just want to
clear
understand the
to viewers.
numbers.
I'm not holding to that number because we've seen firsthand the impact of inflation, changing costs, shortage of labor.
Sure.
So.
Excellent.
Yeah, no, I
Frank,
understand.
there's a little bit of a delay.
Just want to understand we're 2 million thrown here, there, and everywhere.
Well,
But
we're not doing it
I'm
lightly.
good.
Oh no, I was
Bye,
gonna say, you can go, Frank. There's a little bit delay when I try to talk, so I'll let you you take over here.
All right, I wanted to go. I read through your community update, and a couple of things that jump out at me. Actually, two major things that you referenced, and that was this Rhode Island Comprehensive Assessment System testing. And
Correct,
so
right.
I'm not really familiar with that. Maybe I should be. It's only for grades 3 through 8.
That is correct. Yes.
And was Newport's results worse than other communities, or were all communities in a similar situation?
I would say we did not fare well. I have not had the opportunity to do a like comparison, but I would not be surprised if we did not do as well as some. We were very surprised. I know my elementary principal was very surprised. And we've got a lot of work to do. We've really, got to buckle down and, change some things up as soon as possible to see how we can address this. Because the most important thing for our children is to be reading by the grade 3. I'm sorry?
Have you been able to attribute this to anything in particular? Do you think some of it as a result of the pandemic? Or is that still a mystery?
No, we do have some learning loss like all districts do. We have learning loss just like every other district, but we have a chronic absenteeism challenge here in Newport, and we've had it for quite a while. And we have been putting in supports and resources for at least the past 5 years. We've purchased vans with COVID money to pick up children that have missed their bus or were not able to get into school or have problems staying after school for extra help. We have created positions called student attendance officers, which added to the staff of the one Eddie Merritt we had, who's been running it for the district. We now have 4 individuals, one at each school, that focuses on children and families that are having difficulty attending schools. We also have provide tutoring and extra supports in that way. We also have social emotional supports for maybe children that are school phobic or are uncomfortable about coming back to school. But the chronic absenteeism is a community problem, and it starts in the early grades. And I'm just going to say it's an adult problem. We have to get the message through to our young people that school is important and you need to be in school every day. And unfortunately, we've lost that message in some ways and in some places. And I don't know if people understand the impact of not going to school or letting your child stay home because maybe we're going to have a no school day. It impacts them all the way from their social emotional development to their academics. And it also starts to build in habits that may not necessarily be positive for the future as far as work ethic, dependability, attendance at one's job, all of these things. And when we look at the data and go deep into the data and look at those children that are chronically absent, those are children that have been since they were at the elementary level, and we still haven't addressed the problem. We have in our schools, we have truancy courts at the middle and high school level. We have judges that come in and meet with parents and students, always first in a positive way to help provide supports. Tell us what you need to get your child into school, and we will do it, and we will help you there. But it still is not, it's not getting to all families. Are our numbers improving in that area? Yes. As a matter of fact, the Department of Ed has created an attendance tool, which we all can go in every single day, and we look at it every single day to see where each of our schools are at whether they're improving. Where were they a year ago on this date, and where are they today? I will say Thompson Middle School, shout out to Dr. Browner, and to Rogers High School. They're doing a great job. Pell, they're improving, but not at the rate, especially for younger children, that we need in order to help ensure children are in school learning. If children are not in school, they cannot learn. And that has been one of our biggest, and is still, I would say, our number one challenge. Now, the Department of Ed has also created a tool that I'll be sharing hopefully in the next week or two that shows the difference between when a child is in school and learning and when they're not. And it actually takes those assessments, those that we just took, and they're going to show the difference between children that were in school on a regular basis and their scores and children that were not. And in some cases, we have 24% learning gaps. So that in itself is a story. And it's something that I'm hoping every adult in our community will start to question when they see a child of school age walking on the sidewalks, in a store, at the 7-Eleven or at the Seasons or whatever. You have to say, why aren't you in school? Why are you here? And, those are the things I think it's going to take all of us.
Tons of questions that come out of all of that. First, because we've seen the reports statewide, is Newport's absenteeism problem any different than any other community? Is it worse? Is it because it's a city and we know that there is a significant poverty rate in Newport, or all of it? Does any of that make sense?
Oh, yes. It's all connected. It's all about the whole child. We don't look at just one perspective. And just recently, Kids Count came down to Newport, and they held their annual Kids Count data. And in that, if you look at children in poverty between the years of 17 to 21. I have it in front of me because it does tell a lot. And no, you did not prep me about this. These are the things we look at. Middletown is 11.3% of their children are in poverty. Yep. Portsmouth, 7.5. Newport is 29%. And the 4 core cities, the urbans, their average is 28.9%. Newport has a higher child in poverty for the years of 17 through 21 than the 4 core cities. And the average in Rhode Island is 15.2. So that's just one piece of it. The other part is we've heard a lot about affordable housing, and it's on everyone's mind nationwide. Newport has the highest per capita in the state of affordable housing, and even that, it's not affordable to the people that need places.
16 point something percent,
correct.
I believe. Yeah, the Housing Works Factbook came out last Friday, and right. It was Newport is one of the surprising things when you look at it statewide. We went from 7 communities that had met the threshold to 5, and some communities, instead of improving, went down. I didn't look at what Newport was previously, because Newport was always at among the highest levels, but still, there's a lot of that. And when I look at income levels, it breaks it down. It's really I don't know if you had a chance to look at Housing Works Factbook, but a lot of great information in there. But affordable housing is huge, statewide, nationwide.
And then you have your children in poverty. So when you have a child first that doesn't come to school, one can't learn.
So with and the then kids count, quick question about kids count.
Sorry?
Yeah. I'm sorry, with kids count, I wanted to go back to that for a moment. They also would come up with a total of kids in schools that were homeless. And I know the last one I looked at said about 1,500 children who were from kindergarten or preschool to high school were considered homeless. Homeless being no permanent home, not necessarily living on the street. I don't know whether they had that count and what it may have been for Newport.
They did. During the 21-22 school year, 1,461 children were deemed as homeless. Newport Public Schools personnel identified 43 children as homeless. Middletown had more, 72 children. And the wonder about that is it because there's a homeless shelter in Middletown? So that was one of the wonders about that figure. But Middletown had 72 and Newport had 42.
I'm curious how they do that count, whether they just ask the kid, and if they do that, you might get a different answer. But
no, how we do that? No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, we actually have to go through a process for that, to determining homelessness. So we go through a process and interview the whole thing.
So as you look at these test scores, as you look at the absenteeism, it's clear that you were looking for parents to be partners in trying to resolve, certainly the absenteeism issue. How do you reach them?
We try all different ways, as many as possible. We go to community events such as the trunk or treat, just have informal conversations. This year, I started a parent advisory group. And as a matter of fact, we meet tomorrow. Our second meeting is at 9:30 at CCRI. I know the time is not convenient for everyone, but it's a start. And then at mid-year, I'll check in to see if we should have it at a different time. But it's outreach, it's having and being present, being present at the volleyball games, the soccer games, the football games, checking in, how's school going? I think informal conversations are really important. Social media, as far as sharing what's going on, teachers speaking with their parents. It's so many different things. I think thank you to you and Ryan for giving me this opportunity to at least get some messaging out about what's going on in the schools. Sure. But at the end of the day, we have great kids, and our kids are going on to unbelievable experiences, those that come to school and graduate. We need to get more of our children that live here in Newport coming to school on a regular basis and going on and living their dreams and achieving what they want for their futures. And I know there isn't a single parent that doesn't want their child to be successful. I know every parent wants their child to be successful. So we want to work with families, we want to work with parents, and we want to be partners in getting children to come to school. And then once they come to school, if we have challenges or something's not right, reach out to me, the principal, the teacher. We can work this out, but we need children in school. And that's really, really important. And as you know, with the 365 and the governor's initiative and working with our community partners, we're trying to extend those learning hours beyond the school day. And so we're reaching out to our teachers, we're reaching out to our universities and our community partners to make sure we can work together to help improve our children's academic success.
Is the absentee issue prominent in different grade groups? For instance, high school or middle school or elementary school? Is it more severe in any of those areas?
Yes, it's more severe in the PK through 2, which is, think about it, the foundational years. That's where we have our biggest challenges. I don't know if people or parents understand how important it is. Those are the formative years. So those are the years we really need them in school every day.
That's pretty surprising that to me anyway, that it's the younger grades, because certainly that's not the kids. It certainly is a home situation. Why do you think that grade group is not taking seriously, or the parents are not taking seriously enough school attendance?
I think it varies. I think everyone has a story. I think some of them may be that parents are, work commitments. There might be other priorities, such as what we just talked about: shelter, food, housing, all of the above. And then the understanding about the importance of the early years. I think sometimes parents don't realize they're the formative years. Those are the years children learn how to read. Those are the years children learn how to count. I think it's as different as some families are. And sometimes, I know it is. It's generational. If someone didn't have a good school experience when they were growing up, it usually and sometimes does carry over to the children, because their experience wasn't positive. They don't believe their own child's experience is going to be positive. So that's what I mean. There's a lot of conversation that needs to happen, and we need to find out the why they're not coming to school. But like I said, literally, you can pick up the phone, and we have people that go and pick up the children and bring them to school. I will say that this challenge is not new to me as a superintendent, a former building principal. I was doing this back in early 2000s in some communities I was in, or others, because the child missed the bus. The parent went to work and the child overslept and was responsible for getting on the bus. There's a lot of different reasons in all different communities. But Newport does have a big challenge.
This parent advisory group, how big is the group, and who are the parents that are involved? I don't mean by name, but by kind of a profile.
The profile is, I have some that do work, but they work later in the day or they have flexibility. I have some from the elementary. I think I have more from the elementary, a couple of middle, and one high school. And then I actually had 2 community partners come because they work with us with the children after school, and they're interested in trying to keep the children in school and coming to their after school programs. We have found, for instance, a good example is we have some children, we've already seen it. This is how deep we go into the data. We'll notice patterns of when they come to school or when they don't. And we have some children that when they have sailing, they're in school. Every time they have sailing, but on other days they're not. Or when they have team fame in the afternoon, they're at school every day. They don't miss team fame, but other days they're not. So, and we also notice that Fridays or Mondays sometimes there's a pattern.
I wanted to ask about the strategic plan. I know you started that process. How does the strategic planning incorporate some of these things as well? Is that part of it, or is it a broader piece with that?
It's both. One is, so we have a strategic plan that we did last year that was literally, it was more compliance for RIDE in their new form and shape, because we started working with someone in February to map out a 3 to 5 year plan that used present data and addressed the items we felt were important. So our strategic plan we have now with RIDE, and it's only for 1 year, it was a placeholder, was focused on ELA, the implementation of the new curriculum in ELA and math, and with the goal of increasing RICAS scores. The one we're working on right now is dealing still with the implementation of high quality curriculum focused on student achievement, but it also has a component of chronic absenteeism to it. The other part of it is we are creating, as part of that strategic plan, this goes to the more global, is what is the expectation when a child graduates Newport Public Schools? What is it, the qualities? What does every graduate that leaves our school district have? And what is the expectation of what they have? And that goes all the way from PK through 12. So that is presently the work we're doing. As a matter of fact, we were involved in that work yesterday. We've been involved in that work and will continue to be involved in that work through the winter. We have done surveys with the community, with students. We received over almost close to 600 responses from students, parents, and community members on our first round. We've held focus groups within the schools with the students to hear from them on what they perceive or think of as a powerful graduate. And we've had leadership meetings, several of them, about what we need to do in order to ensure we have successful graduates.
One more quick question on the strategic plan. This council or the town is also doing a strategic plan. Any connection between the two, or are those two separate?
At this time, there is no connection. I would not be surprised at one point or another, there will be conversation about that, because I know, fortunately, Mayor Zai is very supportive, and I know many others on the council are supportive of education, and they'd like to see us turn the school district around. So hopefully working together collaboratively, we will do that, and we will accomplish that very soon and very quickly.
One last question, and I always ask it about staffing. You fully staffed?
We have one position up at the high school. We have a long-term sub. It is a reading literacy support person that we still do not have. We're always looking for paraeducators and substitutes. So we do encourage anyone that is interested in substituting. I believe we pay $150 a day for substitute teachers. If anyone's interested, to please apply. But otherwise, we're in much better shape than we were last year at this time. Last year at this time, we didn't have math teachers and others. So we're in much better shape this year. So that's the positive news.
Enough bus drivers?
Bus drivers, and they're here at Rogers. The buses are pulling in as we're talking. Bus drivers, that we seem to be okay in that area right now too, knock on wood.
Colleen, is there anything else that you wanted to mention or bring up this morning, this afternoon?
I did want to, I think I did. I talked about it ad nauseum about the chronic absenteeism being a community challenge. you will, and I will be sharing more about that in the future. But we do have parent conferences coming up, and that's really important in how parents can get engaged. They will be on November 7th, and each school has different times. They're flexed. So if you have children in multiple schools, you can make multiple school visits. But we're also holding, and I want to thank Newport Community School, they're holding a November workshop asking the right questions at parent conferences. And that's going to be 5:30 to 6:30 at Thompson Middle School. And that's on November 1st. So we're actually starting to have workshops for parents to know the questions to ask, what to look for when you go into your parent conferences, and being really involved in your children and their academics. That's important. And the other thing I'll just add, we have a lot of different activities. So I encourage, especially for the Halloween celebrations this weekend, and I encourage everyone to look at the school news letters as well as my own. But the other thing I encourage everyone, the importance of children, the whole child. It's the academics, but also, are they involved in school? Are they in after-school programs? Are they on sports teams? Are they part of the chorus, the drama, the play? That makes a big difference in a child's life and whether or not they attend school as well.
Colleen, I'm wondering if you could tell me what they teach in witching school.
I do not know at all.
Spelling.
All right. That was good.
All right. I'll do one more quick one.
Oh, okay.
Favorite candy for Halloween. What's your go-to? I think Rhode Island might be a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup state.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. Oh, I was looking for some other joke there.
Oh, no. I was just asking you.
Is there a trick or treat bar? Is he going for a sky bar?
Serious question.
Space nuts or whatever those things are.
No, I was just asking you your personal favorite Halloween candy.
Oh, I think Kit Kat or Snickers.
Okay, all right.
Mm-hmm. That's me.
Frank, any other hard-hitting questions for the superintendent?
No, I think, I'm really happy that we spent a lot of time talking about the absenteeism issue, which I know is statewide, but certainly in terms of Newport. And I really like the emphasis on how parents need to be involved and attuned to this, because that's, at least in my mind, that's where it begins. If a parent doesn't encourage their child to go to school, and pre-K through 2, it's all about the parents, and that's, I think, just really important. But it's a good discussion, and hopefully the programs work.
Yeah, I didn't tell you about the new nudge. Oh, so this week the principals are going to start sending out a nudge, and it's a automated tool that goes it goes to the parent. We can text it and we can email it. It's already been set up. The data in it is specifically about your child, and it shows a bar graph as to here's what the typical absenteeism is or should be at this point of time. This is where your child is at. And then it gives the prediction of your child is going to miss X% of learning and all that. So we're starting that this week as well. So we're trying to take advantage of anything we can to get parents to be aware of what missing school impacts and what the end result usually is.
Superintendent, I just thought of something, and I'll ask the question quick, but an absenteeism doesn't have to be the whole day. It could just be one class, right?
No, that's a good question, Ryan. No, it's a percentage of the day they're absent. We also track tardies as well.
Okay.
And
so if I missed the last period of 18 days, is that 18 absences, or is that?
No, that's not counted as a full absence.
Or,
no, it does.
Just popped in my head.
Yep. And as a matter of fact, bringing up the tardies, we started tracking the tardies too. And at the high school level, we do have quite a few that come in tardy. But the other side of that is the more we're exploring it, it's because the majority of our children that are coming in tardy aren't getting out of work till 12 or 1 in the morning.
Oh,
So
geez.
that's
Wow.
another thing we're addressing. And it's hard because they have the report we get from the families and the children, they have to work. And so we're hoping we can help them. And that's what I mean. The schools are here to support in all ways. In Newport Community School, we set up a program last year that they can go down to the Gateway Center after school hours and help catch up. And during school, where we have tutors on staff to help the children that have been missing school or tardy.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it again next month when we talk to you after Thanksgiving. So we hope you, as well as everybody else, has a great Thanksgiving.
Yes,
And I can't wait to learn what your Halloween costume is going to be.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just excited. I'll be excited if I can jump up and down tonight, and hopefully the city council will support us in filling that budget gap so we can just keep going onward and upward.
All right.
Good luck with that.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
afternoon.
All right. That is Superintendent Colleen Jermain. We thank her for joining us. She joins us on the last Wednesday of every single month at 1:30 p.m. If you missed any portion of this interview, want to watch it again, want to share it, want to go back, catch anything, all available on WhatsUpNewp.com. Thanks for watching.